Hello.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Trent Advantage webinar series. Tonight, we're talking about studying psychology at the Trent Durham campus. Tonight, I am here with Professor Jeff Adams. Thanks so much for being here today. My name is Jennifer Walsh-Hopkins, and I'm an enrollment advisor with Trent University. I'll be your moderator today. So in just a second, I'm going to hand it over to Professor Adams to go through the presentation and that type of thing. I just wanted to let you know that you can follow along through the presentation, and if you have any questions, feel free to add them into the chat icon, and we'll get to them towards the end of the presentation. And just all your questions, put them there, and we'll get them answered. Professor Adams will likely answer those questions through your presentation as well. So without further ado, here is Professor Adams.
Thanks, Jen. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to come and listen to this webinar about psychology, especially or in particular psychology at Durham. Okay. What is psychology? Many of you might have that initial question. It's the study of behavior and the mind. Behavior refers to the observable actions of humans or animals. Many of the courses you would take are going to focus on humans primarily. Some might have a little bit to do with animal research, but primarily it will deal with humans. The mind is quite an interesting idea, of course. It's going to refer to more than one thing, but in general, a person's thoughts, a person's sensations, perceptions, memories, motivations, feelings, and other subjective experiences. So it's not going to focus on one thing, of course. It's going to be focusing on many different aspects of what makes up our behavior, both behavior that you can see, overt behavior, everyday behavior, and internal behavior, such as our thoughts, as I just mentioned. Psychology is a science and a practice. What does that mean? It means that as a science, we use the scientific method to explore human behavior, animal behavior, and we also look at psychology as how we can apply it. In other words, in practical situations or in an applied sense, so that we can observe and explain and describe and hopefully change or control behavior for the better. Because of the breadth of these topics, we have to look at a number of different types of issues within psychology, so various concepts. This can mean looking at abnormal behavior, at various aspects of biological aspects of behavior, looking at cognition, how we think, so the ideas of language and intelligence and memory. Developmental psychology, so we can look at how we develop across a lifespan, or focus on various aspects of development at various parts of our lifespan. So child psychology, adolescent psychology, and of course with an aging population in Canada and in Ontario, psychogerontology, the study of the old. We can look at various aspects of personality or sensation and perception, or social psychology. All of these are covered in great depth, both with introductory courses and also with advanced courses in many of these selected areas. So many of you are going to have at least one really interesting focus, right? You're going to have something that's really going to float your boat, and not surprisingly then, you're going to pursue that. And we have a number of courses that would be tailor-made to helping you get a really good grounding in that particular area, as well as other areas within psychology. So there's a lot of diversity in our program at the undergraduate level. There's also the opportunity to do graduate studies in psychology, at least at the master's level. Yeah, please. Thank you. This is the basic setup of our program. In the first year, it's a general year where you're going to take a number of interest courses along with the first two halves of an intro psychology course. You can do them in either order, which is good. So depending when you start a program, I'm going to be here for a little bit. Depending when we start the program, you could start with one or the other. So lots of flexibility here. In the second year, we have another two core courses that you must complete, which are research methods and statistics. We asked students to complete these at the second level because now they have a little background in psychology from the first year, and now we want to add to it and shape it so that they have a really good grounding and understanding of what we mean by the different methods that we use in psychology, and some idea of the actual statistics that are used, so that when you go on to other 200, 300, and 400 level courses, you're able to really understand and appreciate the various issues surrounding methods and statistics and other things that you will have to understand in other courses. After the second year, you now can progress to more interest courses and to progress to more advanced courses. So you might take the abnormal psychology at the 200 level and then continue on in abnormal psychology, advanced abnormal psychology at the 300 level. So you can get a lot of background, a lot of your interests met by these advanced courses. For those of you who go on to a fourth year degree, you have other 300 and 400 level courses, which I'll describe a little later on, and you also have the opportunity of completing an honors thesis. One caveat to continuing on in psychology is that you must obtain a 60% or higher in the first two courses at the 100 level. Yes, please. In addition, once you've completed those first 200, 100 level courses, I should say, you then go on to the research methods and statistics courses. And again, to continue on to other courses, we ask you to have a 60% or higher in those two courses. This is an overview of the two basic streams of courses that we would like you to pursue when you're completing your degree here at Trent. We tend to split it into say neuroscience, cognitive neuroscience, the A stream, and more social science or applied science in the B stream. No matter, as long as you're a major in psychology, you're going to have to complete courses from either, or pardon me, from both streams. It doesn't mean you can't take more in one than the other. That certainly is possible, especially if you have particular type of interest. You're going to do that. That's a given. However, we would like to have you have as rounded a background as possible, so that this is why we require that you take a few courses from each. Notice that all upper year courses have prerequisites, so that means that you really have to complete with a 60% or more in most of these courses to go on to higher level courses. This is a very basic overview of the differences between a general degree and a course-based and honors-based. So yes, you can complete a 3-year degree. Some people do. Most people go on to either a 4-year course-based or a 4-year honors or a thesis-based degree, I should say. The difference between course-based and honors thesis-based is you're actually completing a thesis in that 4th year in psychology. One of the, I think, really nice concepts or deals at Trent is that you can actually complete a degree and have more than one major. You can do a major minor, you can do 2 minors, 2 majors, and we allow for that flexibility. Some universities may not allow you to pursue more than 1 major. So we allow that, and a number of my students in my courses actually do have more than 1 major. And so you really do get quite a nice mix of ideas coming into, of students with ideas coming into any class because of that. So the farther you want to go on in psychology, the more credits you need. Every credit in psychology at Trent is considered a science credit. But many do go on to the 20 credit degree. It gives you more flexibility, and we can talk more about that a little later on today. We don't have, I know some universities use or have co-op. What we have instead, as other universities do, is the idea of research. Well, first the honors thesis, which I'll talk about in just a little bit. But we also have research and reading practica. These are very valuable to students because they allow students to apply their accumulated knowledge of psychology by working one-on-one or one-on-one with a professor on some aspect of research. So either collecting data, analyzing data, generating a lit review, working on a publication with a professor, amongst other possibilities. A reading practica is, again, one-on-one with a professor, but instead of collecting data, you're actually writing some kind of independent review of a topic you have a special interest in. That is also very valuable because you're going to get a lot of feedback, and you're going to work very closely with the professor on this. So this is one example of the general write-up for a research practicum. Typically, students who are going on to an honors degree are going to complete 1 or more research practicums. They're somewhere at the 300 level and some at the 400 level in the 4th year. It can be, as it's displayed on the screen in front of you, quite a wide variety of different possibilities. You wouldn't do them all. You certainly could do more than one aspect in a different practicum. But it really gives you a feel for what you would do as a researcher when you get to your 4th year honors thesis, what is expected of you in that honors thesis, what you might expect to be doing as a researcher at the graduate level. So it really is a very good introduction to some aspect of research. And you're working directly with a faculty member. So you're getting a lot of insight, and you're getting a lot of experience at a 300 level course. The reading practica are, as I said, similar but different. It really depends on your interest. So I've had students complete reading practica in hypnosis research, in dream research, one of my interests, looking at issues with Native Canadians and accessing services. So it can be any sort of aspect of your interest that you develop, and they really have been outstanding. The type of submissions I've received from students. So we have 2 options for the honors degree: the course-based and the thesis-based. Both require completion of 20 credits. Almost all of those, of course, are going to be in psychology. There's going to be, of course, you have to complete a few out of psychology electives. but mainly you're going to complete a wide variety of courses from those two streams that we mentioned earlier, from the sort of more cognitive, neurocognitive, neuroscience stream and the applied or social science stream. By the end of it, it means that you have a lot of experience, you have a lot of knowledge about psychology. The difference between the honors degrees and, say, a general degree is to be able to complete the thesis requirement, you then will have to complete an advanced statistics course. It's a year-long course. It is, again, very interesting and very complete and very comprehensive. Not many undergraduate universities have this component, and it's something that many of our students are very happy about because it really does help them move on to other opportunities. It really is a door opener, if I can say that. I did. If you are set on continuing in psychology, that is, if you wish to become a clinician, if you wish to work as an academic, anything where, if you wish to pursue another area, another professional program, so in business administration or in law or medicine or social work, completing an honors-based degree is, at least in my opinion, the way to go. Okay, I don't know of anyone who has successfully gone on to graduate school in psychology without completing an honors degree, and typically that means the honors thesis. You have to be able to show them that you are able of a high level of independent research, and this is the way to do it. I know there's a lot of writing on the screen and it can be a little daunting. I remember being an undergraduate and reading this and thinking, really, I can do that? Well, yeah, I did. Believe it or not, many people do. And I think it's, if you set your mind on it, you can do anything, and it is demanding, there's no doubt about it. But you do get something that most undergraduates will not have, and that is an honors degree. And that certainly is going to show any employer, any graduate school, that you are capable of a very high level of work. You're under the supervision, of course, of a faculty member. You start to work with them in September. Usually before that, you agree on a topic, and then you start to research it and generate a proposal, and then go and collect the data, analyze it. So it's everything that is normally done when you are conducting research. You actually also have an honors thesis course that helps you with various aspects of how to approach an honors thesis, how to complete an honors thesis, as well as information about applying for graduate school or for other graduate programs or for other professional experiences that you might be interested in. When was that last one? Yeah. So this is just more about the honors thesis at Trent. I don't think there's much more I want to add to that. So yeah, we'll just keep that. While you're focused on completion of a degree, it's incumbent on us as a department to help you not just get through courses, but to give you a background, to give you a number of skills that we feel are important and that you can take and use in any other part of your endeavors. So things such as critical thinking is super important. Communicating properly is vital. Gathering information, synthesizing what you learn, Again, going back to research methods and statistical skills, because these courses encompass a lot of these other ideas here. Interpersonal skills, knowledge of the history of psychology. Sure, we're only about 140 years old, but we've certainly done a lot in that time. So it's important to focus on some of the more important people and theories that have made an impact in the world overall. And of course, ethics and values. Now, this is just a short, brief, cursory set of ideas. You certainly are going to be exposed to and learn a lot more than what we can encompass in any presentation. But this gives you a very brief idea of what we might be doing, what you might be doing. What do you do with a degree in psychology? Well, what do you do with a degree with any degree? It's, of course, to some degree, what you make of it. And this is an incomplete list. But this is some of the things where, we've talked to our graduates in psychology, and this is where they've ended up. So there's no one right way to complete a degree and go on to some other career. But these are some of the possible settings you might find yourself in. It doesn't mean that you won't need additional training. I think that's important to point out to you. But it certainly does mean that once you've completed your degree here, you are ready for a number of different career opportunities. So some of the students that I have some of the students I'm still in contact with. Yes, many go on to graduate school in psychology. Some go on to some have gone on to law. Some have gone on to human resources research. Human resources type of jobs. Some are in financial services. So there's a lot of possibilities for you once you've completed your degree at Trent. I'm just reinforcing, I think, what I mentioned before. If you are at all interested in graduate school or professional schools, then a thesis-based honors degree is typically what I would recommend. I think what most of my colleagues would recommend for you. And at most of our graduates, we typically have about 25 every year, 25 honors students every year, and many do go on to graduate schools or other professional schools.
Okay, so this is the part of the webinar where you guys get to ask questions. So in the little chat feature, if you want to type in your questions, we'll also get to them. I'm not seeing any at the moment, so what I'll do is maybe start with some questions that I thought of while you were chatting, Professor Adams. So I was wondering if you could let us know. So I would say a full-time undergraduate student is going to spend about 15 hours in class a week. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
So on top of that 15 hours of in-class time a week, how many hours would you recommend a student spend outside of the classroom working on readings, getting ahead in their papers, that type of thing?
Well, and some courses also have seminars.
Okay.
So that means typically another, it's possible that another hour is added to that 15 hours, or a couple more hours. In talking with my colleagues, some of them suggest at least, and again, this is their ideas, say 6, 7, 8 hours per course. So it really is fairly demanding.
Yeah.
So if you want to do well, and I know many of our webinar webcasters, web listeners are probably very interested in the time commitment, and it is a fair amount. And I think it's true. If you want to do well in anything, you have to put in some time and effort. So you're probably looking at for every course, 6 to 10 hours, perhaps.
Yeah, so I mean, it's really, almost like a full-time job, right? Like if you're coming to school as a full-time student, you can kind of view it as your full-time job. I think that's what I did as a student.
Yeah, yes.
Another thing I was thinking of is if you want to briefly let us know some of the research that's been done by Durham students recently, so Trent Durham students.
Well, that's yeah, really quite a lot of different things. I just had an honor student complete a really interesting, some really interesting research on dreams. That was and something that hadn't been done before, so that was doubly exciting to not only look at dreams, but also find something that really hadn't been researched before. I thought that was really quite neat. A lot of our research, one of our professors focuses on cognition and sensation and perception, and so every year he has 2 or 3 students look at various issues or various aspects of hearing or seeing.
Okay.
And it's really quite neat. You think hearing, seeing, we know so much. No, there's so much more to learn about them. So we have a number of students working with professors here that look at childhood issues. So we're looking at developmental psychology ideas and cognition. So how can we, what is it about the brain that allows it to develop the way it does, and how is it that we learn how to count numbers, for example, or differentiate between different types of objects in our environment, and how does that develop, and how do we energize it? And there are quite a number of theories that talk about how this is organized in the brain, and where this energy comes from in the brain, and how it helps us learn in a very general sense.
Yeah. So we do have a question. It's come in. So can students take research courses in any year, or are those courses only offered in the third and the fourth year?
Well, in the second year, we like you to complete the research methods and the statistics, the 200 level research methods and statistics courses. There are courses that don't require them. So learning, for example, is a 200 level course, and there are others. So you can sort of delay it a bit, but if you wish to continue on as a major in psych, we do suggest and we do require that you complete those courses sooner or later.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, and I, as a student taking psychology, though I never took a research-based class, I was still able to research my areas of interest within that class. Yeah. So doing a paper, it was still what I was interested in and learning research skills that way. Yeah.
Some professors, myself included, we will give you a range of topics that you can research within a broader area. Yeah. Usually you're going to find something that is going to be of interest to you.
Yeah, great. And then just one final question. And again, if you do have questions out there, feel free to put them into the chat and we'll get to them. But one of my final questions is, why would a student want to choose psychology at a small university like Trent, or an even smaller campus like the Durham campus?
Well, that's an excellent idea. I think having myself as an undergrad, as a graduate of a small university and at a small campus of a small university, I found you really get a personalized touch. You really know that the professors care about you. They know who you are. You can't hide. You are not going to be a number. You're going to be a person. From the library staff to the office staff to the faculty, you're going to be a valued member of the Trent community here at Durham. And I know for a lot of students that makes a really big difference, that you are known and you are cared about, and I think it adds a lot to what happens at this university at Durham, at the Durham campus. You also, as you go through your degree, the same people, the people you start with are the people you graduate with. So I notice over the years, I see a lot of friendships, I see a lot of people hanging out. So there's a real sense of community within the student body. And when they do graduate, there can be a sense of loss because now they are moving away and going on to other things. But for those 4 years, there's a real sense of cohesion and togetherness.
Great, yeah. And then kind of two final questions, and I believe they're tacked on to each other. So does Trent offer any graduate studies programs at this point? So I would think in kind of psychology or in related fields. And what are some of the career pathways of that?
Okay, yeah. Right now we have it's housed at Peterborough. So at the Peterborough campus we have, it doesn't mean you have to be there. I mean, we have graduate students here as well. But mainly the courses are in Peterborough for our graduate program in psychology. And again, it's really tailor-made. It's quite broad, so it depends on who you want to work with, what faculty members you're interested, what areas you're interested in. And again, it's fairly comprehensive. It's fairly quick, so you're done within a year or two, which is nice. And from there, you can, again, it opens up more opportunities. So you can go on, again, to other professional schools. You can continue on to a PhD with some professors have affiliations with other universities, so you can, in fact, still be a Trent student, but also finish your work elsewhere, kind of thing. So it doesn't mean I can't give you a one-size-fits-all answer, because it's difficult to say what's going to come up for you after you finish your graduate, your master's, for example, or your MSc. But it certainly allows you and affords you more opportunities.
Great. And then we got another question.
Okay.
Do we have any online courses for psychology?
Yes, we do. We have quite a number of online courses. So I know for many students, they would like to accelerate their learning, if I can use that term, I just did. That way, I know some students let me approach it from a slightly different angle. So yes, there are online courses. We also have courses at both campuses during the summer. And I find some students really enjoy and appreciate that, because again, they can knock one or two courses off the summer, and then that means their fourth year, when they're actually right into their thesis research, they actually have a reduced course load. And a lot of them find that very helpful, because now they can focus to a much greater degree on completing the thesis and all the other aspects that go along with the honors thesis. But yes, we do have online. That's another option. I know a number of students in the first year like to do that. So again, they can actually complete the two halves of the intro psych at the same time. So I've had students online and in my classroom. I get a little confused, like, what, I know you from some, oh, you're online, okay. So there's that option too, that again, not all universities offer, but we certainly do.
Great. Well, I think that is it for questions, though if you do have a last minute question, feel free to put it up and we'll get to it. So I think you're coming back to us. Hello again. So first, I'd like to thank you for joining us today for the Trent Advantage web series or webinar series on studying psychology at the Trent Durham campus. For the Durham students or Trent Durham students, there are a couple of deadlines that I would like to remind you of and things that you'll want to be thinking about. So the first thing is that we're offering campus tours all summer, Monday through Friday, some Saturdays, and you can sign up for a campus tour at trentu.ca/tours. The next thing is there's a couple of deadlines coming up that you'll want to keep kind of keep in the forefront of your mind. If you're looking to live in residence, you'll need to apply for the residence by June 1st, and there is a $500 deposit due for that. So you'll want to check that out. Also, there's going to be emails going out about summer orientation sessions, and so you should check your email kind of typically around the beginning of June to look out for that so that you get involved in the orientation sessions, because they give lots of great information. We also have some more webinars coming up this week as well as next week and kind of into the future. So on Thursday, I will also be hosting a social works I'm having a hard time speaking today. So social work webinar on May 19th. On May 25th, we have varsity athletics. on May 26th. We have more information about joint majors, which Professor Adams talked about, but there's a whole host of joint majors that students can combine. There's lots of weird and wonderful combinations that you can do at Trent University, and I think that's a real advantage for our students here, is really any combination you can pretty much do. And then finally, May 31st, we have a webinar on financial aid and OSAP, so you should definitely check those out. I'm just going to go back to the website and check to see if there's any more questions. Looks like we're all good. So thank you so much for joining us. It's been lovely, and I hope you have a great night. And again, feel free to ask any questions. You can contact us through phone, so 1-888-739-8885, or by email at liaison@trentu.ca. That is liaison@trentu.ca. So I think we're going to sign off right now. Thanks so much, Professor Adams. Thank you for joining us, and have a great night.